Hello and welcome to the Brigmore Witches, the second story-based DLC for Dishonored, which is a continuation of the first one, I believe. I've played it before, but it's been a while. Save game of Knife of Dunwall has been found. You can use your progression in the Brigmore Witches. You will retrieve your equipment and powers. Which progression do you want to use? High Chaos, of course. And we're doing like the standard difficulty, because there's no achievement for high ones, that's as far as I know. You've been ill at ease ever since you assassinated Empress Jessamine Colwyn and aided in the abduction of her daughter Emily.
He knew. The black-eyed bastard knew that when my blade stilled the Empress's heart and delivered her daughter to the Lord Regent's men, everything would fall to pieces. He watched me do it anyway. And now the world's gone mad. Plague grinds the city down. Corruption rots. A mad killer roams the streets by night, seeking revenge.
It's me.
The overseers have stormed my hideout in the flooded district. And I'm in a strange duel with a mad witch named Delilah for the fate of the Empire. I'd say I was being punished, but I know that the world doesn't punish wicked people. We make our choices and take what comes. And the rest is void. I can't say I wasn't warned. It's been months since I killed the Empress, but it feels like only seconds ago I heard her yelling for her daughter, Emily. Corvo's face going slack with shock, and somewhere in my head the outsiders laugh.
Oh, it's me again.
Come to collect on our debt. Did you ever think you deserved to lose your Empress? That a better man took her life, while you gaped like a fool? Come on, Corvo. Prove me wrong.
Gonna fight myself the ultimate battle. Kicking is unfair. Also, thanks for not shooting me well. I'm gonna try and do more blocking this playthrough. Oh, I need that. And also that. Thank you. Give it back to me.
Damn it.
Sir, Thomas has returned with the information you requested. He's waiting for you below.
Don't remember if Billy Lurk shows up in this, seeing as we spared him. There is the... Well, clearly there's this in here. Oh, we really get to keep... We get some assassin too. Excellent. Let's... Yes, very easy win, thank you. More ammo, yes. And swing sword, sure. A note from Billy. Dodd, no need to waste breath with apologies or excuses. You taught me that. All I can say is that as soon as I left Dunwall, my head felt clear, maybe for the first time. You told me once that people like us burn hot, then burn up. We don't get a chance to start over. No long days in the sun. But I know you, Dodd. Despite all the blood on your hands, you've been stashing coin. No one does that if they're not holding on to something. You got some kind of plan, some hope for a new life. Maybe you knew, maybe you didn't, but that's what you gave me when you let me walk away. The one thing you said that wasn't possible, and I will never forget that. When the time comes, and it will, I hope you're watching close so you get that chance too. I left a book for you. Excellent. We need more reading. The world is big, bigger than I knew. There are lots of places where an old man like you could disappear. Billy. Ports of call. Oh, jeez, we're starting out with quite a bit. Except from a guide to port cities across the empire of the Isles. Potterstead, Crystal, a small town, but the locals are charming and the ale is unmatched. Be certain to visit during the month of winds for the Pennant Festival. It's like at the end, are we gonna have to pick where we sail off to? So we have to remember all of these, get the good ending. Actually, we go in high chaos. We can't get a good ending. Dunwall, Crystal. Notes on the capital city could fill a dozen such volumes. Yes, I've noticed. All the lights exist in Dunwall if you've got the coin, and all the miseries if you're broke. Unless you're well connected through someone in Dunwall Tower, one of the key families, the City Watch or River Patrol, make sure permits are in order. Otherwise, you're likely to have your cargo seized by the port authorities for any reason they care to concoct. Kilkenny, Morley. While the harbour master here is particular about the kind of goods you're carrying, the rest of the town is more lax. Be sure to visit the inn on the rock for the best mutton stew in all the Isles. Yarrow, Tivia. The cold here will snatch the breath from your lungs, but it is met in equal strength by the civility of its well-mannered citizens. The cozy taverns are kept warm by their famously crafted iron stoves, though the northern food takes some adjustment. Bejeweled aristocrats laugh and drink side by side with weathered, leather-skinned farmers, clapping one another on the back until the dim hours. It is hard to make a friend here, or to truly understand the worldview of the native-born, but once you do, you'll have a friend for life. Oh, that sounds kind of nice. Colero, Sarconis. This city is crowded in the warmer months, and for good reason. You'll find yourself shoulder to shoulder with scantily clad locals and foreigners on holiday, pale skin burned pink by the sun, which somehow seems larger and brighter in Sarconis. The food in Colero is a shining example of Sarconian cuisine, and there's always music, always dancing. Hand rolled on the steps of tobacco shops, the cigars are of course fresher than the ones you've had shipped to other parts of the empire. Karnaca, Sarconis. The jewel of the south at the edge of the world, the city is bustling with industry. After a wave of settlers from Morley and an influx of wealthy trading companies from Dunwall. Everywhere you go in Kanaka, there are new ideas, hybrid forms of music, groundbreaking theories of natural philosophy, and even extravagant delicacies made by mixing ingredients from all the known cultures. The locals work tirelessly for their coin, welcoming the elite from across the Isles. See, they're still. Oh, it might be below us. Regency and the emergency powers. Let's see. Who read this? I don't recognize it. In a time of political upheaval, there are provisions in place for a staged transfer of power, designed with three goals in mind. The first is to minimize the incentive for a coup. There is no predetermined person or position within the government that is scheduled to take on the mantle of regency during a time of crisis. Instead, a regent is chosen by parliamentary accord. This serves to avoid promoting a path of derelict ascendancy and to discourage those who would scheme for such a turn of events. It is the assumption of our governing documents that such a legislative body will always have the wisdom to see through would-be usurpers. The second is the assurance of stability for the commons during and after the transitional phase. Why would I put in a word that has more letters than I needed? Oh, jeez. During an interregnum, while a regent rules the land, there are categories of laws and decrees that cannot be altered without a majority vote from Parliament. Thus, daily life for the people will not change dramatically when during the time of regency or shift drastically once a proper heir takes up the throne. Third, and perhaps most important, is that a worthy successor is found. In order to rule out hasty action and to maximize stability, there would be no term limit or duration applied to the period of regency. Historically, rash decisions has been greatly contested, resulting in extended political turmoil or outright conflict. When the proper heir is found and the position is filled by someone worthy of the role, all others will fall in and provide their support. Oh, jeez. They really go all out early. We've I don't think we've read this. Cobbled bits of bone, except from a journal covering various occult artifacts. They say my mother was a witch, but the truth, as so often the case, depends on perspective and your place in the world. She relied on poisons made from exotic herbs and the blowfish that live in the reef waters near Pandicia. Her power originated in hallucinogenics delivered through guile or by force to those who crossed her. There was an unusual intensity in her gaze for certain, but it came from within, not from the outsider. It's what happens to anyone pushed to the absolute edge of sanity and survival, who stays there for years, then returns to walk among the sheep in so-called civilized society. My mother was crafty. But if it was anything more than powders, hidden knives, and guile, I never saw it. Like they tell children, some of those truly touched by the black-eyed bastard can move through the space between rooftops like a sparrow. Others command armies of rats or poisonous flies as easy as they wriggle their fingers and toes. The overseers are right to fear us, to warn the common folk to stay near their homes at night and keep their families close. But there are other ways his influence manifests itself. Those who serve me share in some of what I can do. I feel like I recognize that. And I suspect it's the same for Delilah Copperspoon's coven. Well, we certainly didn't read about her in the first game, I don't think. Then there are those who can craft runes and charms. The old woman across town, they call her Granny Rags. She carves and polishes the bones of whales, stringing them together and opening them to the void until they moan like the fever sick on a cold night. I found a few of her talismans, and with each one I touched, a tiny piece of me departed and settled in with her. What does she gain? A longer life? Some other kind of power I don't understand? The making of such things is beyond me. I wonder if we'll see more of Granny Rags. I've known 4 people in my time who carried the mark of the outsider, but I've known dozens who wanted it, who stood at night in stagnant ponds or begged with the dust blowing through graveyards, people who gutted farm animals or burned the flesh of men, thinking it would call forth the void. I met a dying man once who had collected runes and charms for years, crushed them all into powder, made a paste and ate them, thinking he could gain whatever magic was in the things. His death was long and painful. I also knew a woman from Kanaka who would trade for charms and other bits of whalebone. She cracked them apart and fused them back together, then sold them. I bought one of these corrupted charms that she swore would cause sharp metal to break on my skin, and it worked. But each time it did, one of my teeth turned black and fell out. Seems like a small price to pay for not being stabbed. After the 3rd time, I gave it to one of my men. Now when he smiles, it's all bleeding gums, and I wonder what parts inside him are turning black. Oh, right, I didn't think about that. Sometimes I ask myself, without these gifts, would I be a man to fear? Would I be called the Knife of Dunwall, with my name whispered through the markets and the alleyways, the high towers and drawing rooms? I'd like to think so, but it really doesn't matter. As long as I bear this mark, I'll use whatever craft I have to force my will on the world. The harder trick is undoing what I've done. Okay, yeah, so I did. Let's see, what was it? Oh, where it talks about like him taking part of his power. I do believe you mentioned that in the other DLC. The Reclamation of Dunwall, excerpt from a pamphlet published in response to the plague. Dunwall, the seat of power in the known civilized world, the empire of the Isles, is our great capital, and has been brought low by vermin. The very thought galls. We are faced with the reality that our once great city is in a a state of shambles, and the few remaining domiciles in any habitable condition are the estates of those wealthy enough to ward themselves against that reality. The city cannot continue to thrive, populated only by the upper classes and their cloistered sycophants. Even if the plague were gone tomorrow, in its present state, Dunwall doesn't have enough hardy people of working age to return the city to everyday function. We must find a way to attract more residents, which requires removing the cloud of fear brought about by the current regime. The Lord Regent and his lackeys are bad for business, my friends. So it falls on us. A plague and a tyrant must be overcome. And after that, we must undertake a third miracle, turning the screws on the obscenely wealthy, forcing them to pay back into the place that has given them their privileged lives. It is the powerful and the fortunate who must pay for the rebuilding of Dunwall, even if the poorest will bear the stones and timbers of reconstruction on their backs. All this must happen for the dormant machine of commerce to restart. Without that, we're all forfeit, and the greatest city of our age will be lost. Okay, can we fight things now? I say go looking for more books in case I missed any. Oh, hello. Thomas Journal. Just grab. Listen to that nice silence. Pull inanimate objects towards you from a distance. Could we? This would be a bit of a pain to set up, but could we rewire a ball of light and then pull someone into? I mean, we wouldn't really need to because they're gonna charge at us anyway. But let's get it. Oh right, and we have to go level 2 to even. Money, ammunition, and keys can be pilfered from a distance. Could pick up whale oil tanks and just chuck them at people. Vitality health is increased. Let's wait because we have summon assassin level 2 to like save our butts. Oh jeez, even more. The whalers. Don't think we've read this, except from a journalist's report on organized crime activity. Oh, it's nice of us to call us organized. I assume it's about us. One gentleman of advanced age swore that his brother had been taken by the Whalers, a notorious gang associated with a man called Dodd. Actually, we have. Yeah, we have read this one, and it was also in the other DLC, I think. The Isles of Circonus. Let's see, have we? I do think so, because I seem to remember having to pronounce archipelago, which is when you're not used to English, it's a terrifying word to just pop up on you. Collect blueprints, yes. The Metaphysica Mysterium. Except from a longer band work on supernatural ritual, it is said that we should not sully our hands when combating the forces of the void. That one we have read, because it's about the guy who was like, hey, we can use the powers for our stuff. It was very descriptive, I know. Thomas Journal, a recent journal entry written in a careful hand. Our troubles began with a name. Also, don't mind me reading your journal as you're just standing there. It's fine. It's a privilege of being the boss. You can just stuff. That's not a privilege to having to read. Well, actually, it is being able to read. I just meant having to. Our troubles began with a name, Delilah, a mystery given to Dodd by the face he sees in his dreams and whose voice he hears when kneeling at the shrines hidden in the lost parts of the city. None of us have ever heard this voice, but we know its power. It spoke to our master, telling him of his coming doom. It feels like you don't have faith in me, and saying that solving this riddle was the only way to escape. We'll be fine. I say, knowing that we end up. Actually, yeah, she doesn't. We don't have to worry, because she doesn't kill us. Corvo does, so we'll be fine. We knew nothing of Delilah, except that we found a whaling ship by that name. A tenuous connection, but where the outsider's word is concerned, there's no coincidences. We discovered the ship was named after a woman who once walked the halls of Dunwall Tower with Jessamine Caldwell. Later she became a painter, an apprentice of Sokolov himself, until she snared an aristocratic patron named Arnold Timsh. We met with Timsh's niece, who offered us information on Delilah in exchange for eliminating her uncle. Removing aristocrats was our specialty, so our master agreed. With Barrister Arnold Timsh gone, his niece divulged everything she knew. Delilah was much more than a painter, and she was hiding in the old Brigmore manor outside the city. I don't think we've been there in the game so far. I think that's a new place. But by then, we were too late. Delilah anticipated our threat. For some time, she had been working her corruptive influence on the best of us, the assassin Billy Lurk. Delilah turned Lurk against us, and together they sold us out to the overseers. When we returned to our hideout in the flooded district, we were swarmed by gold masks and hounds, but Dodd was quick and wise in our trade. In the end, he kept us alive, though there were losses. Ah, you knew I was gonna read your stuff, so you put in some flattery. Smart, you'll go far. Now our resources are strained. Some of the men are grumbling. I see the strain on Dodd's face. Okay, maybe not. My face is perfect, how dare you. Killing the Empress, handing over her daughter, those were not easy burdens to bear, and Lurk's betrayal weighs on him heavily. His sleep is troubled by curses and shouts. So, just regular sleep. Now we make preparations to strike back at Delilah. She is planning something in Brigmore, something that affects everyone in the Isles, and she will be expecting us. Like our master, she shares her gifts from the outsider with those who follow her. How many are they, I wonder? I have no secrets. Well, I have no secrets from my master. That's a good thing. My loyalty is without question. But I fear these may be the last days of the whalers, perhaps the last days of Dodd. I read your stuff. Hello.
I found Lizzie Stride. Getting her to lend us her boat will be a bit complicated, however. She's in Coldridge. From what I hear, they've got enough on her to hold her for about 1,000 years.
Excellent. Lizzie has enemies inside Coldridge. If we play this right, she'll be begging to do business with us.
Ready to leave, sir? Or should I wait?
Let me just check that
At
that's
your
not...
pleasure.
Also, I thought he said she'd lend us her boot. And I was like, how is that gonna be of any help? Oh, we can just... Oh. This, I think we've read, like, all the way back in the beginning.
Why did Dowd leave Abigail Ames alive back at the slaughterhouse? I would have killed her. She's a loose end.
A calculated risk.
Hello, I'm
Ames
just standing
has
here.
as much interest in Dowd keeping silent as he does in her. And now we have a valuable contact.
He's right.
Hello.
Ames is a resource. If she becomes a risk, we'll eliminate her.
Fine. Go have your chat somewhere else where I can't hear. Oh, hello.
We'll start again in a minute. Just listen. This business with the witches, there's no pay in it. No prestige.
Don't. Let's go over Dowd's teachings again.
Forget it. Dowd's getting older. He's getting strange. And if no one else will take him on...
Don't even think it. You want to wake up dead?
Hello.
Ever vigilant, I see. Are we leaving soon to Brigmore?
Scared, are you? Witches upriver. Traitors in the ranks. I'd be frightened too.
Goodbye. Goodbye. The Knife of Dunwall. I don't... Oh, jeez. I don't think we've read this one, sadly. So here we go. From a street pamphlet containing a sensationalized sighting of the assassin Dodd. Gentle reader, be assured that your coin is well spent today. Well, it's too late because you've already spent it, so... What you read here may one day preserve your life and your sanity. No one has seen the knife of Dunwall and lived to tell of it. Until now. The sun was setting, a bloody stain across against the sky, silhouetting the noble contours of Rottweil's slaughterhouse. Wasn't it just a square building? The stench of blood, the flesh of men and whales, soured the air. Dodd slithered from the sewers, his body slick with gore and crawling with vermin that no mortal man would have tolerated, or could have tolerated. His shadow stretched out before him on the ground, and reveals his true nature, a horned thing warped by heresy. He should do my PR. A shape too terrible to, well, I guess he kinda is. A shape too terrible to put into words, my gentle readers. A sorcerer from the void, without question. I could hear the moans of the dying workers he left in his wake, but he did not even pause to acknowledge their plight, for his heart is colder than Tivian ice. Instead, he let out a guttural howl of victory, the shock of which snuffed out the lives of those poor dying workers, and then he bounded away. So were they already, like, dying when I got there? Because they weren't. I did that. Moving from roof to roof back towards the streets. This was where I thought this chapter would end, until I heard the music. The grinding metal music of the overseers echoed from the nearby alleyways, and I knew there would soon be a fight. With only my sense of duty to the fallen citizens of Dunwall to keep my fear from overtaking me, I inched closer to the mouth of the alley for a better vantage. A brave contingent of overseers had captured one of Dodd's lieutenants lurking in the alley. He or she, for I could not tell beneath the thick leather of the industrial whaler suit, was prone and tied with sturdy ropes, surrounded overseers. But their fixation was ultimately their undoing. Dodd fell from above, moving through the air as easily as a falcon. I swear it upon my spirit. Without sound, he glided down among them, and the music maker was the first to die as Dodd tore the man's head from his shoulders. I mean, the sword sort of helped. The wretched song faded into a discordant wail. Then I watched as the most notorious assassin of our time became a flurry of leather, metal, and blood, deflecting bullets and sword blades with ease. Yeah, totally. I didn't get shot a bunch of times. The last overseer, no doubt consumed with terror at seeing his brothers fall so easily, sank to his knees and begged for mercy. Dodd spoke a single word that made my entrails squirm in my belly upon hearing it. The overseer shrieked like a madman until his mask split in two, as though struck by some hammer and chisel, and a stream of blood gushed forth from the crack, bathing Dodd's boots. And that's just terrible to get, because it really, like, stains, and you can't, at no point can you get it out. It's not like mud you just wash off. Blood sticks around. I closed my eyes at that point, too overwhelmed to witness any further atrocity. I could only hope that if that foul heretic discovered me next, my life would end swiftly. But when I opened my eyes, Dodd was nowhere to be seen. That was the last I ever saw, the knife of Dunwall. So heed my warning, gentle reader. Should you or anyone you love witness some misshapen shadow fall across your path, or should you hear the slightest rumor of dark words whispered from rooftops, then flee. Flee with all haste. Now, where is secret loot? Is it below me?
This will hold while we're away. Anything short of cannon fire.
Let's hope it won't come to that.
No. Is it just up here? Yes, it is. Thank you.
Corvo's coming for us, Dowd. And he's got nothing but blood on his mind.
You let me worry about that when the time comes. If it comes.
Spoiler alert, it does. Let's see. Okay, so we've been in here, we've done all that. I think we've done everything. I think we can leave now.
Is it time to go, sir?
Yes, it is. Oh, I was gonna say, how is it high chaos? But that's because we started. I missed 200. How did I miss 200 goals? There was like 3 rooms. No special action accomplished. Did you not see me climb the bookcase? Stay of execution for Lizzie. You need Lizzie Stride's I almost read boot again. Boat to reach Delilah's stronghold at Brigmore Manor. Unfortunately, the leader of the Dead Eels gang is locked up in Coldridge Prison, and you've got to break her out.
Delilah doesn't leave Brigmore Manor anymore. She doesn't have to. Which means I have to come to her. The manor's upriver, far out past the quarantine line. I'll need a ship. I've lived in Dunwall's underworld a long time. I know the players, gang leaders, madams, corrupt officials. But what I need is a smuggler who knows the river, someone I can trust. It's a reflection of Dunwall, or perhaps myself. That after all these years, the best choice I have is Lizzie Stride.
She
And
does
Lizzie
have
Stride is in jail.
She does have sharp teeth, just like the they wrote that she did. Favors. Yes, we know this one. And we're gonna Overseer. You're disguised as an overseer. An overseer has been summoned to Coleridge Prison. Contacts will intercept him and send you in his place. Using this overseer's uniform as a disguise should fool the prison guards long enough to get you inside. See, we are doing, murder. But that is also just a cool thing. Forge requisition. Forge requisition orders allows your contact to deliver stun mines to the prison. Key to the munitions locker will be hidden nearby. That could also be very... But we can't get all of them. We have to get this one, surely. Do we want... How are we for... I mean, we do have a bit. Do we want more munitions? Or do we want to be an overseer? Can't do both. I mean, the overseer part, that's gonna last like 3 seconds and then we go ham, so we may as well just get more stuff. Then we can afford some bolts. We can afford 1. Or a sleep dart. There we go.
Dowd, Lizzie Stride is in there, but we don't know where they're holding her. They're playing overseer music from the loudspeakers. We couldn't get in.
Why the music?
One of their prisoners. A spy caught at Dunwall Tower. The guards have sent for overseers to investigate.
I'll be back with Lizzie Stride. Stay hidden.
And we're off.